Patterson. We are at the 13th annual St. Louis Prototype Modelers Meet. I'm doing an outdoor photo shoot. We're going to talk about this table saw. That's absolutely magnificent. This is the best hobby in the world.
What's neat?
What's neat?
What's neat?
What's neat starts now.
Catch the What's Neat podcast every week and full episodes of What's Neat every month at the Model Railroad Hobbyist YouTube page.
Yes, I know.
Yes, but now that we're recording, there will be none of that.
Yeah, no more F-bombs.
Ooh, screen capture.
All right.
There he is. Look at him.
Now we all gotta behave.
That's a nice shirt, Lionel.
I know.
Yeah.
Would you like me to get you one?
I'd love that.
All right. And then underneath it says "Live like it matters."
Oh, nice.
It does matter.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't have any show notes.
What do you mean you don't have any show notes?
Show notes.
You don't need show notes. You don't need show notes.
Where
You
was
got
your
me.
clipboard? Right there, right?
There you go. All you gotta do is write down what number it is and what day it is, and we'll just take it from there.
Okay, what number is it?
Oh, he's got a donut.
Oh, he's got a donut.
Donut.
That's not fair.
Wait, I want a donut. Why can't you have donuts?
For,
Very good.
August 17th.
Now you're gonna
Yes.
make us run to the donut shop. That'll
No,
delay things
I
even
don't.
more.
I don't run for anything but cake and
Cameras
trains.
are rolling.
Donuts are cake.
Donuts or cake?
Depends.
Donuts or cake?
Some donuts.
Okay, here comes the train.
It's daylight outside.
Here comes
Yeah.
it's a daytime show.
Here comes the.
Yeah.
Do-do-do.
How many
Which
cars?
means-
How many cars you got on that?
I feel like since we're a daytime show, we gotta all be perky or
1,
somehow.
2, 3, 4. There's more than 7 cars on this train.
Okay, rock and roll. I think I just woke up an hour ago.
That's that big blow turbine right
Those
there.
are all Rapido boxcars.
We have no cameraman tonight?
from Canada.
No, it's not tonight, but we can say tonight.
Okay.
We can,
All right.
yeah.
You don't have a cameraman?
Nope.
No. What? Ooh, that's pretty.
There's a train running.
Look at that.
And you can see it.
I know.
How many cars are on that train?
Oh, a lot of cars on that train.
I'd say 40.
Hey,
I was
what's,
gonna say,
what-
looks like 40 or 50 cars.
what's this knob do? All right, somebody give us a countdown, and this is yes. It's a daytime show today.
It is.
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2,
2,
1.
The What's Neat This Week in Model Railroading Show is made possible by viewers like you and is proudly supported by Model Railroader Magazine, helping enthusiasts become better modelers for more than 90 years. To learn more, visit trains.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com.
Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week show in model railroading, show number 285.
Wow.
Wow.
I know,
We're
getting
moving
close.
right along.
We made it that far?
300's coming.
Yes.
This is August
Tonight-
17th, 2024. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the wonderful show at Model Road Hobbyist magazine called What's Neat. And tonight we've got quite a rowdy crowd.
Yeah! Woohoo!
Can I be on the 300th show?
Yes.
Sure.
You got to be here in person.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's in your contract.
Things
Ken
are
looks,
just...
Ken looks like he just got out of bed.
He may or may not have actually. Hurry and introduce everybody before it goes haywire.
Yeah. Too late.
All right. You already know this guy, Mike Buddy,
Hey, everybody.
who I will say last week, that auto rack presentation. I mean, wow, Mike.
Yeah. Well,
Mike.
thanks. Yeah.
I said to you a silly thing a few minutes ago. I know we've been friends for over 30 years, 35 years, whatever it's been. But sometimes I feel like I'm among greatness.
Well, we're all.
Or is that just this monitor right here? So here we have Mike Buddy. There's the words under Mike's name, see? And here on Skype, you guys know this character, our wonderful Lionel Strang
Yay!
from the Modeler's Life podcast. And that's quite a successful show, Lionel. Welcome to the What's Neat show.
Gosh, thanks, Ken. It's been like a whole year since you've had me on.
It's been exactly, you were on last August.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you doing your hair differently now?
You like it?
I didn't do my hair.
He's using Pantene Pro V now, I believe.
You know,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really starting to stand out. I like it. Are you dyeing your eyebrows?
sitting right next to me, I've got Joshua Barton.
What's up, everybody?
And the last show that Lionel was on and you were on last August, we had just gotten back from Leonard Skinner,
That's right.
that
That's
wonderful
That's right,
gentleman that
Yeah.
gave us those tickets.
Nick Campbell.
Nick
yeah.
Campbell.
That's right. I gotta interview him. Yeah, I talked to him.
Oh.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, okay. And on the very end over here, we've got, look at the cameras,
Oh.
James Regier. Hi, James.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, now, yeah, Lionel, let's go back to that. You said something very interesting to me in the green room yesterday when I called you, and that
Right.
was that you wanted to do a Modeler's Life podcast with the
crew.
What's Neat crew, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that'd be great. If you guys could figure out how to set up like that, we could do it just like that.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
great.
right.
Let's just do that right now.
But that's audio only, so I don't have to worry about camera one.
You don't have to worry about cameras or nothing. You
Camera
just
Wait,
gotta-
so we can sit
Okay.
in the comfy chairs as long as we have the headphones
Yeah, I
and
can
the
sit in the lazy
microphones.
boys.
So there you go. I
That'd be
love
great.
that.
you-
Yeah.
As long as you got the headphones and the microphone.
And
yeah.
I don't have to shoot anything.
All
I'm not.
you- all
I don't
you
have to
gotta
shoot
do is-
video. I'm not in charge.
No.
So theoretically, how are we connected? Are we connected through our cell phone to you? How do
No,
we-
through the computer, just like we are now.
So
but-
we still got to be in the house. We can't do this outside.
Correct. We don't want to do it outside because of the background noise.
Oh, because
No,
we.
you know what? Go
You
down
want-
to
you
your
want clear
local,
audio.
It's
yeah,
too.
go down,
It's too early in the morning.
yeah, go down to your local Shell station and we'll do it from there.
Yeah, that's
Of course you have to be in the studio.
reporting live from the gas station.
Yeah.
If we're not in
All
the
right,
studio,
this is a
they'll
show.
know.
This is a show about toy trains, and this is not a toy train, and I don't have a cameraman, so I'm going to shoot you B-roll of this. Check this out. This is really pretty. This is all I got done on the layout this week. It is so frustrating. I wanted to get so much more done over there. The lights aren't even glued in yet, and finish up that video. But I spent a little extra time on last week's podcast in the polished edit. It didn't get out until like Thursday, between Wednesday and
Right.
Thursday at the time change, whenever that happened. That show did come out, but check it out. New opening, a lot of little tweaks in that presentation. And I accidentally learned a few new tricks and I added those to it.
That's
So-
those happy accidents.
Well,
Yeah.
the Mike Buddy segment, I just once we saw what we were dealing with regards to the level of what you have done with those 90
Yeah,
cars.
that was a pretty big project.
I wanted
Yeah.
it. I wanted it to be seen, and we didn't have any B-roll. We didn't have any outside, so I just scoured the internet for photographs, and I found them of your rack.
Well, good. Thanks.
It didn't seem like you were that prepared.
For what?
I never am.
Well, like you had to scour the internet for photos. You didn't.
That's
and then
that's
you-
everyday
the,
stuff.
The show
I mean,
the show didn't come out on time. I mean, I count on that
On
show coming out
time.
on time every
What is on
single week.
time?
I know he's letting down a lot of
I mean,
people.
Yeah.
the little voiceover at the beginning. The What's Neat This Week video podcast is brought to you by wonderful modelers like you.
Okay.
I mean, that I redid that part because I had to enter into Firecrown and Model Railroader magazine into that, and I wanted
Oh, are
it to
they-
I wanted
are they
it to flow
advertising now?
smoothly. So I did I did 27 takes of that voice. You have no idea. Model railroading has got such variety. We've got different eras, different rails, different, and so is a voice. You could do a voice 27 times, and the cadence will come out different. Is it trains dot?
You've done 285 shows. How can it be that difficult to say?
It's not difficult. It's just amazing the new things you discover. It could be
Very true.
Yeah.
trains.com. Trains.com. Don't cough. Trains.com. Or it's trains.com. You know, it's Model Railroader Magazine, or it's Model Railroader Magazine. And so after you do that X amount of times and you find the right words, I even used AI to write what I said.
I'd cut that out of this right here.
Yeah.
You know,
No, because it came up with the same word. You know, you got the words that mean one thing, but there's 5 words that say the same thing.
everyone has a
Use a
thesaurus.
Synonyms,
Thesaurus.
yeah, thesaurus.
Long story short, the new Diorama's got a beautiful control panel to control 6 blocks. There's only 5 tracks over there, but and I'm showing a video of this right now. I've got to shoot it. I think I'm going to add a grain elevator to that vacant lot back there because A, that's a vertical scene. B, there's a lot of lights on the walkways in various parts of grain elevator. So that would light up beautifully like John Parker did on his grain elevator on that beautiful BNSF
Yeah.
layout.
Yeah.
I'm showing a clip of that for sure. I know where it's at in the computer. There's Kevin Rubel looking at the grain elevator on Mr. Parker's layout.
Yeah, the Fall River suburb.
Yeah. So I think that would add a lot more. And then I'm toying with the idea of an overpass. There used to be one on the Midwest Valley. We've had one on this layout. We've seen other people do highway overpasses where they just cut through the scene.
Right.
But it's a great divider
Right.
for a scene.
Makes for good photos.
And you
from
can put
underneath.
more lights on top of that. I've been on the phone with the sign guy this week. That's his new nickname, the sign guy. Okay, that's
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Crash.
what happened?
I don't know.
I heard something derail.
Okay. Anyway, that's the story on that.
Power's off.
We were running a train tonight on camera 2. I probably showed it to you, maybe. I don't know.
Now it's stationary.
Yep.
What did you say? The fine guy or sign guy?
Sign.
The sign guy.
The sign dude.
Scalesigns.com.
Scalesigns.com,
Check it out.
Yeah, a guy from Michigan.
Scalesigns.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's he's has some really great stuff.
How'd you find him?
He was at the St. Louis RPM this year.
Oh god, that's a whole
really?
that's a whole
Yeah.
nother story. Okay, so this year I did 2 of the interviews at the show, and these guys took the camera and all the equipment for 2 days and just disappeared. And that's when Mike, you did 2 interviews.
Yep.
Your interviews came out really good too.
Yep.
You did a few interviews.
Yeah.
None of yours came out. Your interviews came out really good, and it wasn't your fault. It's just there's a lot of little technical things you got to know about the sound and this and that.
Right.
Okay. Long story short, these guys shot some great segments for the What's Neat show. But the other thing they did is they did 17 interviews. I usually do 10, and they did these companies I've never really heard of before. So sitting here doing the edit last night because it's so late right now. I actually watched it. Our wonderful Daniel did a great interview. 2 manufacturers at the same time, one on each side of them.
That's right.
I mean, very creative and very informative because these smaller companies actually make some really neat stuff
Yeah.
Right.
it's that I am unaware of, and there's so much more to learn in this hobby.
Absolutely.
Lionel, say something.
Well, you're not stopping. I was waiting for you to take a breath.
Okay.
It's hard to realize when he's going to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm dying to. I want to talk to you about this scale sign thing, but you're talking so much, I didn't get a chance to talk. I was eating my donut instead.
There you go.
Well, it's too late now. We're not going to talk about it.
That's right.
So what happened? What happened to Joshua's interviews?
So
The
the microphone is a wireless microphone, and
Right.
during my interviews were back to back, and the microphone started to fail because the battery was dead, and you can't really realize unless you know
That
what's going on.
Here, I'm probably running the clip. Okay, here's a shot of Matt Herman. This was a Matt Herman interview. He's got that new 3D printing company. And see the microphone green light?
Yep.
That means the battery's going to dump, and that means you got to run back to my suitcase and grab another one, because those guys did a lot of interviews. And usually I'll turn off the system in between interviews, but I think they just kept it on.
Right.
So it was prematurely running out of juice based on our normal flight pattern. But this time somebody else was flying the plane, and it wasn't in cruise control. They were, just
So I
must have slept through training day, I guess.
I was trying to rush us through and get as many as I could and delegate a little bit, and I should have been more aware
And it was
that.
okay, because you did the tangent interview over again with David Laibach. You did the, there was maybe another one or two, the gentleman, Dan Goings, you did that over.
Yeah.
Because the battery was dead for all of those. You had no sound bars. And I can't believe we're
Dana
talking about
Stratton.
this. Long story short, it all turned out to be amazing. And I didn't learn about the Matt Herman interview being bad until, because his dropped out halfway through the interview.
Right, and
I actually listened to that interview. It was quite interesting. He's got something going on with this 3D printing company.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to interview Matt Herman too. You mean Joshua, you didn't get it? Joshua, how many of these shows have you been on? How can you not have gotten this? Was super important.
Because
do you
there's-
not
there's-
realize,
there's a lot-
Joshua, do you not realize people all around the world want to hear these interviews? Here you are walking around with a dead battery.
As
come
I
on.
sit here, everyone, I apologize for not
you don't
bringing
have
you
to.
the
It's
information.
not your fault. There's all these little idiosyncrasies, these little things that I take for granted that I know. That when I'm doing these interviews, I already know, because I've got the fear in me of, if I screw up, I'm going to have to do this all over again. And there's, the little bitty things like checking sound bars and making sure you got sound bars through the whole interview, or holding the microphone into the gentleman so you can actually hear the voice. And I think on one of the interviews, somebody, and I'm not going to run this clip because I don't know who it was, I don't want to embarrass them, but somebody actually walked right around us. I think it's a closing of the show. I don't remember. Somebody walked right through the camera.
Yeah.
Just whoop, right through.
Yep. I remember that moment.
You do?
Yeah.
It happened a long time ago at a narrow gauge meet. And back then, we were using a cable, and the tripod was holding the camera, and the guy literally lifted up the microphone cable and went under it. I showed that clip once. I'm not going to show that again, too, because I don't want to embarrass somebody, because now they whatever.
Well, it was
Blur
probably
his face out.
Joshua that did it.
Yeah,
It
probably.
was Joshua that lifted
You know
the
what?
cable.
Let's just blame Daniel.
No, let's blame Joshua.
You can blame
Let's
me.
blame
That's
Joshua.
fine. I'm just not cut out. for
Joshua,
this.
I have to apologize to you too,
Why?
because I didn't answer a text that you sent me a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I figured you just hated me and didn't want to talk to me anymore.
No, you know what happens? You get a bunch of texts and it slips below the bottom of the screen, and then you're like, I gotta.
Oh,
And every once in a while, your brain goes, I gotta answer Joshua. I gotta answer Joshua, and I kept forgetting, so I apologize.
it's all good. Oh,
So with regards to, we talked on the phone because I got to catch up, and you've been doing a lot of amazing things. But now, Lionel, you are going to, this is like last week's show. I love it when firsts happen. Lionel Strang is going to become a little more active in the hobby, and he is interested in, I believe, S-scale.
Well, I
It's
wouldn't say
probably
I'm
because
very-
you can buy cars at Walmart so much cheaper than.
that's very true.
I'm not sure I would say I'm going to become more active. I just am becoming antsy to build something.
Yes.
I think model railroading is one of those things that's kind of like, sometimes you just put it aside and you don't want to, you're not in the mood, and then but when you want it, it's like a good friend. It's always there.
It comes in
Yeah.
waves.
Analogy.
Yes.
And then the bug bites you, and you got to do something.
No, he's
again.
right, man.
Yeah.
What-
Right.
Exactly.
That was
Then you're
really
off
deep.
to the
what he
races
just-
again. So yeah, my friend Scott Lister
Wow.
built me two beautiful RS1s, and they're like those brass kits.
Wow.
He built me these two beautiful RS1s that appeared in Model Railroader 30 years ago, and only built them in S scale. And I thought, well, okay, then maybe I'll build myself like a 20-foot long S scale shelf layout.
Ooh.
There you
That
go.
would be fun.
Oh,
That would be fun.
All right, we're going to make some more news on the show here. I must have said something in last week's podcast or the show before that. I don't know. You got to be careful what you say on this show, because it causes reactions in people. I got Joshua on the phone last night, and he said he tore down his whole layout. And I was like, there was silence, right? And I'm thinking it's not April 1st. I mean, and I know what he just said ain't true. So Joshua tore down his whole layout after something I said on the show. Joshua, what happened?
Okay. So you had said, I don't know, on the show before or before that, you were talking about if you could do it all over, you wouldn't use foam and you wouldn't make things to go outside.
Correct.
And that resonated in my head so much because all the benchwork that I've done is after your model of everything being on wheels, everything being modular, everything being able to be pulled out to be photographed.
Right,
you know?
and that went right up the center of the room.
Correct.
And then I gave you all of that because I needed space to do this show. As you can see, we have a packed house tonight. Look, there's a frog. I'm not kidding. See that? He's got
crickets.
We got, yes. Anyway, long story.
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah, so that resonated with me. I'm building a giant turntable, and I have this giant island that I move around on wheels, and now I've just decided that I don't want to do it on foam. I'll keep the foam for certain parts, but I want to make half of the layout completely stationary against the wall with a 2 foot or so spanned away from the wall so I can reach everything.
Yeah.
Like a shelf layout.
Right, and then at the end of that, when I'm, the part that's going to be stationary will be stationary, and at the end of that, I will do some kind of Fremo
Module.
cassette
Yeah.
to go into a
Yeah.
Fremo module.
Right.
Because that way I can move things in and out, I can build different modules, and that's the stuff that I'll take pictures on, or take to a RPM, or take to a Fremo meeting, you know? But I think that most of it, including the turntable, now that I'm thinking about it, I need that to be bulletproof. If there's something that's wrong, I want to be able to climb on that. And I can't really do that with 4 inches of foam. My bottom base is completely bulletproof, but that foam in there, and that foam is very unforgiving for a lot of things. So I think I'm just going to move away from the foam as the base.
As a roadbed and stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I'll just build up the foam.
So 1x4 grid work or metal studs? What, are you going to use the traditional way of building bench work? Or are you going to try something new?
I don't know. I'm researching a little bit. I've had a few ideas in mind.
Ooh.
So I'm just going to let that resonate for a couple days, and we're going to go grab some
You can't
wood
even reuse the bench work that you already had?
I think I will. I'll just
Maybe raise it a bit,
build
or-
it differently. Right. Take off the casters and put it up a little more.
Having
So-
the bench work on wheels, on the narrow gauge stuff up the center of this room worked. As you can see, I have nothing else on wheels around here except for that roller cart that comes and goes for shooting
Right.
props. I got rid. The thing that makes it work when they're on wheels is the fact that, let's just talk about it, unless those wheels are lockable, all of them, it is a potential possibility of something getting moved, and you may not know it, okay, which is, okay, lead to a problem. Plumb bobs, you know those things you hang on a string? Brass ones. I got some pretty nice, beautiful ones. I had 6 of them down here, and I had center points on the floor drawn. So if any one given time, if anything ever moved, this is like a seismograph, okay?
Right.
I would see that it could be off by something, but nothing actually ever did move. But the plumb bobs were a very lifesaver for that.
Right, right. I did the same thing, only I used a rock. I was a little more primitive, rock and a string.
There you go.
I mean, I could see James Regier using lasers.
Yeah.
So he'd set up, he'd have an Arduino set up. You know?
Sharks with lasers.
A rock on string.
I mean, what I'm planning on doing for mine is building a pretty solid benchwork, probably shelves or something like that underneath for storage, and then on top, the layout surface. What you saying, Lionel?
Time out. I have a question.
Yeah,
Why am I here?
Oh my God!
Just to have
that's a.
God brought
You know,
you to us on
that's
this
right.
earth.
Why are any of us here?
Yeah, man has asked that question all
you-
Yeah.
You know, the
long.
only reason that
Why
I
am I
know
here?
about you, Lionel, the first time that I ever heard you was on this show with Ken Patterson in 2015 or 16. It was
On this show?
on the Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine, and you were 6 months into your talk show, and you
Right.
were on Ken's show, and in return, Ken was on your show.
Right.
And
Right.
that was before I ever met Ken. So after watching that podcast, I looked you up, and I think you were 6 or 7 episodes in, and I listened to every single episode up to the current one at the time, and I pretty much listened ever since. So Tom Barbalet and Smokin' Joe D'Amato, and I mean,
Got to get smoking. We got to get you guys on. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you guys on.
I'm really looking forward to that, by the way. Yeah, that's going to
Yeah.
be cool.
God, this is so nice.
As soon as you send your
Just
check for
everything.
$500,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
have you.
Right.
Ken should have that in the mail any day now. So
You guys talk too fast. You're talking about interesting stuff, James. I'm sorry I cut you off, but you guys talk like we're going right past. Went right past. Joshua's ripping out his layout and starting over again, and I have questions.
what? Go on,
Go
Lionel.
for it.
So we apologize for. You
Yeah.
need just wave at us next time.
Well,
'cause
that's why I did
Yeah.
that first,
I
but I
can't-
interrupted
I can't
James.
get
So
Ken
maybe,
to shut
maybe
up.
we should let James finish, and then I'll have.
No, ask your
questions.
question. Ask your question. I'll make up whatever it was I was saying later.
Well, foam is so popular with modelers to build their layouts, and now you're saying you're getting away from foam altogether, and I find that very interesting because I was thinking of using foam on my next layout, and now you're saying no, you don't like it.
Well, I'll use the foam, but in a different capacity, or at least for the section. I'm depicting DeSoto, Missouri, and that's a completely flat little town, and it has a giant rail yard, and it used to have a giant turntable in it, and everything was completely flat. And when I use foam, I stack 2 pieces of 2-inch foam, and
Right.
and I had a hard time with drilling up in getting my switches at the right position to flip my turnouts.
Sure.
That was a big thing. Just every day trying to get and maneuver around it. It just got to be so much, and I just, it's very unforgiving. If you put your elbow in there because you're climbing on it, that's an indentation there until you smooth it out or get some putty or whatnot. And
So what are you going to use for road bed then? Are you going to go like Homosote or something, like
No,
3/4 ply? And
so
Homosote?
for the part that I'm building first, like I said, it's going to be a giant yard with a turntable, all flat. I'm gonna just put the wood down. I'll probably use 1/2-inch
Plywood?
Plywood.
So plywood top.
Correct. And then I have corkboard, so I'll put corkboard over most of it, and it'll still have that appeal of being down, and then I'll raise up the main line to go through on another set of cork bed.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's a tried and true to old style method, but it
Right.
works.
Well,
Right.
I don't want to have to climb on or climb in or get into it because I used foam and the rail is a little rickety. I want my rail to be bulletproof. I want it to be sturdy. I want it to run more than anything else,
Right.
And I can always jazz it up, but most of the yard is going to be the little gravel anyways. So it's going to be flat. If I want to put any terrain on it, I'll take a little piece of foam and carve it and put it where I want it to go to give some contrast. But I want the wood and the rail and everything to be tried and true and as flat
Solid.
and solid as possible. I had some issues of my track wobbling or being a little higher than it, and the trains would disconnect because of
Yeah.
it. And I want to stop all that. I want a train that is first off bulletproof and runs great, and we'll worry about all the scenery after that.
Well, another
Why
good
don't you-
thing about
why doesn't he get Ken to come over and build it?
I don't have to.
Ken's got a beautiful layout.
doesn't
Ken,
have
you got
time to
lots,
work on
you
his
got lots
stuff.
of extra time. You go over there and help
See?
him.
I've never shown a video of doing open grid bench work. Every video I've ever made since 2012 has been with foam. We discovered foam in 1988 when we built that Midwest Valley Modelers layout, and the point of the foam was filler material so we wouldn't have to use plaster. I just didn't want the extra weight, the window screen, all that. This is a modular layout. Everything you build, it's like a backpack in Boy Scouts. You learn to cut the handle off your toothbrush to save weight. And that was important on the Midwest Valley, and foam was easy to carve. It was brand spanking new. I don't have anything negative to say about foam. We've learned how to work around foam shrinkage. It's not that severe. But you got to figure all the props that I've built through the years for photo shoots and things like that. It would have taken forever to build those out of plaster. Whip them out of foam. They're disposable. It's really disposable scenes, quite honestly.
Easy to move around
Easy,
too.
true,
Wood.
right.
And easier to modify too, I think, like than plaster.
Yeah, I mean, this layout, it's great. We heard my argument 2 shows ago about the flat tabletop versus an open grid. There's no right answer. There isn't. It just depends on how you use your layout. And most people don't use their layout. They play with it. They operate on it. They enjoy it. They don't take it out of their basement.
Well, I mean, I think, like, I've been planning this a lot, and I need to start doing is what I need to start doing. But
Famous words.
but
Yeah.
I've been increasingly thinking that I want my roadbed to be something solid like Homosote, so that it's not on plaster, just because you have that expansion and contractions. And when it comes to scenery, it's easy to modify scenery, but when it comes to your track work, you don't really want the modifications in foam interfering with the track work.
But
so to me, it makes a lot of sense to sort of use the foam as you would use plaster, so that you can sculpt your landscape and hillsides and stuff like that.
Isn't Homosote so much more debris and dirty and...
it depends. You use a router on it to carve out your 45-degree angle roadbed, you'll make a mess. Homosote's got to be painted and sealed because it also expands and contracts with humidity.
Yeah. Yep.
We learned that the hard way on the Midwest
Yeah.
Valley Modelers layout when we hand-laid all of that track work.
Lionel, what did you use on your layout?
Well, my last layout was open grid and 3/4 ply, and then a 1/2-inch Homosote on top of that. And then I would use the foam to build, scene small hills and things like that.
Yeah,
like I've
yeah.
used foam before as well.
Right, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to do some of my layout in foam. I'm just saying that for this big part of the town and the turntable and the roundhouse and my engine shop and my car shop, all that, I feel like all that rail would be pretty much flat anyways in real life.
Well, one thing you mentioned before was drilling holes for all the lights and everything. That's a lot easier through a 1/2-inch
Sure.
plywood than going through.
I don't.
4 inches
yeah,
of
You know
foam.
how hard it is to find a 6-inch drill bit and the size that I need it?
Oh, I got
The-
plenty of those.
So the one thing I keep thinking about, is some of the advantages of the modular system, because if you can lift a section of the layout out, to work on it, flip it upside down, do the electronics at your desk, where you're more comfortable working on it than crawling underneath the layout.
That's what Ken
doing
just
it,
did with the
reaching up
module.
and doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I think that part of it makes a lot of sense. Am I going to take it out and photograph it? Goodness, no. I got stairs to negotiate. A whole bunch of turns to negotiate. If I want a photography module, I can build one of those. But to have the layout modular does have that real advantage. And then also, if you need to, move it for something like there's a disaster in the basement that you got to clean up, that makes it easier to do that as well.
Right.
Okay.
But
Hold on, you just said I don't have a 6-inch drill bit to drill through my foam, right? You use any size drill bit, a normal small one, then you stick a brass tube into the foam all the way through, and you run your wires through the brass tube, and you pull the brass tube out, and your wires are in place, so you don't need a 6-inch drill bit.
Yeah, I remember that trick.
Yeah.
You've got to watch my videos.
wait, you should have
What's
told
neat
me. I
videos.
just tore my layout down. Couldn't you have told me that the day before yesterday?
Maybe you should call me before you make these quick choices.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. Let me finish by saying that
Lord.
it's super liberating to now be able to redesign everything.
Yes.
And all those little hiccups that I ran into before, I can think about those and get those out of
Right.
there and start new and start fresh.
It's a second chance.
I mean,
Right.
it's very liberating to feel that way.
It's like getting a brand new girlfriend.
Yes.
Huh.
Well,
Yeah.
Must be the
There we
voice of
go. There we go.
experience.
Yeah.
I woke up an hour ago.
Okay.
Hey, listen, I want to talk about
it
something
looks
for a
like
minute. There is a book from Fire Crown Media.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Kalmbach. It's going to be so hard to break me of that old habit.
Can we get a shock collar, and every time you say "Kalmbach," I shock you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes this book. This is beautiful. This is on that new website I told you about last week, trains.com. And this is the Steam by the Numbers book by Brian Solomon. A really, I'm showing a picture of it right now. It's on the screen. And I really like that edit where sometimes I show it in the cornered screen. You can still see us talking.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
This is a really cool book. Helps you understand why the fast passenger locomotives were not well suited for the heavy freight service. It actually talks about the differentiation between all the steam locomotives, the articulateds, the northern. You go through it. This new book from Fire Crown Media, it explores over 30 different wheel arrangements, uncovering the history and development of the operational significance of steam. So check this out. You can find this at the trains.com website.
What's the title in the author?
It's called Steam by the Numbers. And it's got a beautiful, look at this picture. It's
Brian
really
Solomon, yeah.
Brian Solomon.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I went through that website when I was doing the screen captures last week. There is a lot of publications on that website. And there's a lot of interesting books that I didn't know that were written. And I'm going to sound silly now, but because I don't remember the names of the authors, but one gentleman built this amazing container port, Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, off the docks. Just amazing work. So there's some great books out there that I want to check out.
There's some amazing modelers out there.
Like Lionel. Lionel. Okay,
Lionel still does. Don't
Lionel
say
still
used
does,
to.
not used to. Good grief.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up that the fact that he used to work for Model Railroader magazine years ago,
Yeah,
and
and Train
he's got
Masters.
great experience in that part of our hobby.
I do. That's right. I did. I was with them for, about 10, 15 years.
Wow.
So why are you keep talking about trains.com? Are they are they advertising or something?
Yeah, we're helping support each other right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I was impressed that you got an interview with Mr. Fuller because I couldn't get him. His assistant kept telling me to send a calendar link. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And he goes, well, just send him a calendar link. And I'm like, I'm an old guy. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how it happened. I remember I called up one of the boys up there at the magazine. I call him once in a while to say hi, see how things are going. We
Sure.
love you. Thank you for what you do for us in the hobby. And they told me about the sale that had just happened, hours earlier, moments earlier. It was just all really happening. And it was on a Thursday, and I had the interview set up by Saturday. But timing-wise, it didn't work out. So I had to put it off a week, but it still was valid, current, important news for our industry, our hobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to ask him is how much did he pay for it?
Okay. And I'm sure you'll see at a show, and you can talk to him about all of those wonderful, astute things.
$29.95.
Do you think he's going to be a hands-on guy? I don't know. I don't feel like he would. I've never met Mr. Fuller, and I'm sure he's a wonderful man. But I wonder if he understands the enormity of the task that he's decided to undertake.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Go on.
I was just going to say, because Model Railroader is kind of like, the wailing wall of the hobby. Like you kind of go. It's where you go. It's the destination. Though I've been a huge railroad model craftsman fan for quite a while.
Did you watch our interview with him by any chance?
I did.
I mean, I think that he seems genuine, and I think I think that he has a passion for it. Obviously he's a decent businessman because of his things that he's done before in the magazine industry, with the plane and the other. So I think that I think he's a welcome sight to see for
sure.
Kalmbach.
I'm just fascinated by somebody. It's just Model Railroader has been such a part of my life, and it's been such a part of so many lives.
And exactly.
you know, and it's like what the enormity of the task of taking it over and that responsibility of keeping it going and stuff. I'm interested in that. It's like the enormity of having 285 shows.
I think you should just drop him an email or drop him he gave all the various ways to communicate with him on that last show that we did for the modelers out there. He will respond. Ask him to be on your show. I think he'd be a great guest.
I think I'm just going to tell him I know Ken Patterson.
Well, you can do that.
That works usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just dropping Ken's name everywhere.
No,
Except, will he call you back then? Like,
no, I've kept my nose pretty clean, so it's all good.
That's what I do when I go into a bar and, you know, talking to the ladies. I always say, you know, I'm a close personal friend of Ken Patterson.
Okay.
Sometimes that helps.
I always say I am Ken Patterson, so when
Yeah,
they're
there you
looking
go.
for me, you know.
That's what I got to do. I'm going to start saying, and actually, as people know, it's not just Ken Patterson. It's the dude.
That's right.
Okay.
El Duderino, if you're not into that whole brevity
Have
thing.
you ever seen that movie, Ken Patterson?
Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski?
I don't know.
The dude?
No.
Yeah.
You don't know? That's like, it's
No.
like a compliment. The dude abides.
I know.
Right.
The
We
dude
need to
abides.
sit you down with some popcorn and watch that movie.
And some White Russians.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, I've got to say something that happened Monday or Tuesday this week. I did the Bachmann interview with Tyler Haney for the What's Neat show for September, which is late 3 days ago, and I'm going to have it done before this show comes out. So,
I
long
know.
story short,
I know that's another one that's late. And
Yeah.
I've been sitting here waiting for it.
But it's
Like,
not late, it's just late. So we got to get late before it's an issue.
Yeah.
There's different variations.
if I could just make it so I don't have to sleep, I think I would get everything done. But I know I was doing dishes at 4:30 in the morning, and I was vacuuming down here at 6 in the morning. I rewired this entire podcast table this week. I don't know why I didn't do that months ago. You've got to take the time out to do these little things that need to get done, or they're not going to get done. And a year later, we're still going to be fretting over, don't step on the microphone cable to the computer, because you will cut out the sound for the entire show, and I'll have to use camera sound as backup. I don't want to do that. So what did I do? After doing this for 4 or 5 years in the same spot, I finally took the microphone cable, Scotty, and I ran it underneath these shelves behind us, so it's not an issue anymore.
Apparently, we fear change here.
Drop
Yeah.
dead simple things that make your life that much richer.
That's why you are the dude.
So that's why a lot of this
Yeah.
other
There
stuff.
you go. That's
is-
right, Mike. Attaboy,
done.
Mike.
That's right.
There you
And that
go.
rug right there, that really ties the room together.
It does, doesn't it? You hear your collars on.
Edit.
Edit.
Long story short, Tuesday when I did the Bachmann interview with Tyler Haney, Bachmann made a major announcement. The earth shook at this table. Remember the old auto rack that Mike did that he's got some of here? Stop. Remember the Lionel train that we ran around with the 4 red cars in it? Grandpa always told me, Kenny, don't touch the cars. Bachmann's making that car. They are making an accurate, beautiful model of
Nice.
what you have here.
Right.
So lead into
that's
this
awesome.
amazing story. This is amazing.
Well, the prototype, as far as I know, there was only one prototype, and it was built by the Union Pacific, and it was basically an Evans auto rack that was inside of a boxcar, but just with an outside frame. And it was most resembled this one here. I think this flat car number is even correct, 493000. But anyway, the first model of this type of car was actually by Marx, and this came out in 1957.
Oh, wow.
And it actually has an operating ramp here, if I can figure. Yeah.
Oh, that's
and that's how they would drive the car up, and
Wow.
then they would raise this thing and then back it up, and that's how they would load and unload those cars.
Okay.
So, and this came with a 1957 Ford station wagon and a 57 Cadillac Eldorado.
Wow.
And that Ford wagon is pretty nice. I'd like to detail one of those out. Then this is the Athearn model, and so is this, and it has two of the. This is an old Athearn car. This is one that came with it.
Wow.
Actually, this was all dressed up by our pal Sam Dennehy from
nice.
South Carolina.
Oh yes, yes.
Hi, Sam.
Hey,
He
Sam.
customized. I mean, he really detailed that, and this is an old Revell station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ran across a prototype photo in a book I have of the original car, which is this flat car number, but the rack had 6 vehicles on. It had 2 trucks and then 4 passenger cars, and loaded like this. And this doesn't operate, but I made ramps, the way that they were loaded in the photo, and that was a departure from my era. But I wanted to make a model of it once I saw it, and so it's just coincidental that I brought these over tonight, and then Ken tells me that.
Yes.
Bachmann is coming out with the same thing, so
I forgot to tell you all week. I told Joshua last night. I said,
Yeah.
you got to tell Mike this if you talk to
wow,
him.
that's amazing.
I just saw
Contact
him, so-
Mike to pick your lottery numbers.
That's
Yeah.
right.
folks.
You know, another thing that came to mind, and Lionel, I want your idea on this, thought on this too, because I know, hey, try to stay awake, buddy.
All right, I'm trying.
Okay. I could see the potential of what you did last week, what you talked about with those Camaros. I'm back to that again.
Yeah.
It's been done in N scale in the 70s. And as you pointed out, it's been done here on this car with the 4 cars on it. There will be a modeler, a company, somebody is going to come out with a fully loaded auto rack with all the variable cars. Because if you can do it manufactured on a larger scale, you can make all those different paint schemes of that car. And what would be the price point on it? I bet it would be around a $290 piece of
Yeah.
model.
I would pay
Well-
that for something that's as detailed
Yeah.
as those.
With 3D printing, I wouldn't put it past somebody to be able to 3D print a whole deck, with different vehicles of the same, like, station wagons, 4
Yeah.
doors, 2 doors. I mean, I think that's coming eventually.
Lionel, thoughts?
Well, 3D printing is changing the hobby dramatically.
It is.
I mean, things that you thought you could only dream of, people
Right.
can make in their basement now for a couple of $100.
I.e. yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, these machines are not expensive. They're only $200-300, I understand, for one that's pretty decent. And I mean, you
Right.
see so many people now starting up their own little businesses selling 3D equipment and stuff like that, or 3D parts and stuff. And anything you can imagine
Oh,
can now
yeah.
be printed and put on a model railroad, which is
Right.
beyond
Amazing.
spectacular.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
My friend Dave Abeleys, who has the Onondaga cutoff, which you guys should know all about, by the way. You got to get Dave Abeleys on your show.
Yeah, we should.
I'm
We
telling
do,
you, you
yeah.
got to have Dave Abeleys on your show.
Okay.
I'll even bring him. Ken. I'll bring him with me.
Bring them along.
Yeah. And anyways, he found a guy that was making high rail trucks, 3D printed high rail trucks, and put them, and he's assembled them, and the detail on these things in HO scale is
Wow.
beyond spectacular.
Wow. I'd
I have a
like to see
question
that.
for Mike. Mike, are you taking questions?
Yes,
Okay.
from certain people. You count.
Okay. All right. Good. Every week on this show, you have something cool. Do you just like build stuff specifically for the show, or is this all?
Oh no, I am not that prolific. I'm digging into the archives, bringing stuff out of the vault. There's plenty of
Okay.
stuff in my basement to talk about.
We talked about that this week, getting a camera in your basement.
Oh,
just
man.
sitting down there among all of the wonderful piles of stuff and just doing a show.
I don't know.
That would
we
be
like,
great. That would be a great show.
You couldn't
need to-
recreate that set. It would cost a fortune to recreate that set.
It
Yeah.
costs a fortune to put it there.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Why don't you have Joshua going in? No, not Joshua. Somebody else.
Yeah. No, he's just going to mess up the sound again.
James, what did
Okay.
you bring tonight? Are we going to go to James real quick? Did I interrupt you, Lionel?
No, I was nothing important.
Oh, it must have been about me.
Let's
Yeah.
let Lionel finish, and I can talk
Yeah.
about mine.
No, it's good. It's good. We'll carry on. We'll carry on. Well,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? This is part of the show that Ken will have to cut this out.
No, let's just let it fly.
No, you won't.
Why?
Joshua, I just wanted to say to you, could you please watch your language?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Now you're going to have to learn the
The
expletive
button,
beep.
yeah.
You know.
Beep,
Yeah.
beep.
And then
DBD,
add,
DD.
add a little bit of
right.
spice. You know.
Hey,
Maybe a steam
all right.
whistle.
We,
Maybe a
got,
steam
we
whistle.
better watch it. We're not going to be able to be on his show.
I haven't had breakfast yet. James, what did you
Okay.
bring?
Go, James. Go, James.
Go,
What are you
James.
doing?
Oh, this is Rapido.
This is brand new Rapido
GP38.
Hey, isn't Rapido the sponsor of the
Rapido
Modeler's Life?
Yeah.
That's right. Rapido Trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
See?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then
exactly.
there's a da, 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 da.
That's
Yeah.
right. There's music and everything.
Those guys
And
make
go.
some good, amazing stuff. And these GP38-2s, right?
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
We saw these when Jason was in town in February.
Mm-hmm.
They had some pre-production samples on the table. And these look beautiful, James.
Yeah, they've actually redesigned the fans prior to release. They weren't satisfied with them when they were originally coming out of the factory, so that put a little bit of a delay on them. But they're absolutely beautiful. I think starting with the GP40s and moving forward, they'll be using Canon fans for the fans on these locomotives. But just the differences in detail between these two units, and I'm actually seeing a lot more things in the spotlights now than I was even at in the lighting at home. But I mean, you got differences in the smokestacks between these two Jeep 38s. You have all the lift rings, differences in the marker lights. This one has rear markers. This one does not. They're blanked out.
Is
So-
that differences in what they ordered or in the different
These would be
eras?
difference in eras as well as perhaps phase of the model.
Okay.
This is an area where I suppose Rapido was actually teaching me about the different appropriate details for the different eras.
That's very cool.
But I saw their floor models at the National Train Show about a year ago, and just had to put it in order, and so.
Sure. Those are
but
gorgeous. They
they're-
sound good too.
They sound good. They're loaded to the hilt with different lighting features. They have ground lights. They have walkway lights. They have the 4-light rotary beacon with the
that's
warm
nice.
white color.
Neat.
So they've color corrected that from their first generation of
So-
locomotives.
You've put these on the layout. I'm shooting B-roll right now.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
I got to
yeah.
see these.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I got to see this.
Yeah.
I actually thought about picking up some of these, but on the wholesale level, the Santa Fe sold out really quick.
Yeah, but the what's really interesting about these, I haven't really messed with any of the factory settings yet, other than to change the horn, which was set for a different one Santa Fe used. But the speed stepping is really toned to the lower end, so that you have an upward curve
Right.
rather than a straight line, which I normally will do a straight line on the ones that I've programmed, but I'm actually liking this curve really well.
Something
Just
a little
because,
different.
yeah, just because it does produce the effect where you're naturally wanting to throttle up a little bit more than you otherwise would, put the prime mover through its different steps, then come back to the speed you want. So it's been a good experience, and a lot of the lighting features are totally awesome on this. It even has the lit instruments in the cab,
Dang.
which is a neat feature.
That's ridiculous.
incredible.
That's ridiculous.
Jason Sean knocking
Yeah.
it out of the
That's-
park yet
Does it have the
again.
engineer
Yeah.
with a lit cigarette?
I mean, they just keep on the cutting edge of things, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, very cool.
Can I ask a question, a general question of the table?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll start with you, James, because you just reviewed these two locomotives. Like, do you think it's possible that these manufacturers can do even more detail? Like, it seems like, have we reached the pinnacle of what manufacturers can do? I mean, they're even lighting the instruments.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing this is missing is the step lights. I may add those yet, do that kind of thing. But they keep coming out with new things, and it seems like I don't know when they'll stop being able to think of new things to do, but it seems like we've been at that sort of at that sort of line where, oh my gosh, this locomotive is
Yeah,
so awesome. I mean,
right,
that
it's
was with
perfect.
Genesis a few years ago.
Yeah.
And then, now the next generation just gets neater and neater and neater. And then you have Rapido that seems to be pressing the envelope with absolutely everything that they do. Like every generation of locomotives is an improvement on the last.
And they're road number specific
Yeah.
too, as far as the detail.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think as technology progresses in like Blue Nami, there will be more options for that kind of stuff. I think people are going to explore the electrical part of it more. And I mean, the sky's kind of the limit, you
Yeah.
know? As battery efficiency gets smaller and more compact, you can fit a battery in there and have it to be dead rail. And I mean, that brings a lot more into the hobby, you know? I think that every generation thinks, wow, it can't get any better
Yeah.
than this, but it always does. You
And
know?
it's true. No,
Right.
it cannot get any better than this, Lionel.
I think I
Until
remember
next week.
I think I remember Abraham Lincoln
Okay.
at one time, who owned a patent for a method of getting boats over shoals. I think Abraham Lincoln at one point said that he couldn't think that the patent registration office would be open for that much longer because so many great things have been invented, and at some point it's going to stop. Like he said something to that
Gotta break
effect.
the bank.
And of course, we've come a long way since Lincoln, but
Yes.
yeah.
Mike, I got a question for you then, along the same lines. Are you taking questions?
Well, like I said, from you,
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
yes, I
Okay.
will.
So you're a guy that loves to detail stuff. You know, you're like I'm kind of a throwback. I kind of like the old Atlas yellow box locomotives where you had to shave off the handrails and put on handrails and add details and stuff. And that's kind of gone by the wayside. Do you find that? Do you still find things that you can detail, or do you find that now everything's 3D printed in such exquisite detail? It's just mostly assemble and paint, or are you still finding that fire to find stuff to detail?
Well, I mainly detail my scratch-built stuff, my auto racks and stuff.
Right.
And as far as the detail that's available on today's models, I look at it as time saved that I would have been doing that, and my
Okay.
time was worth a lot more.
Yeah.
But I remember, we're the same age. I remember shaving the grab irons off and then having to drill holes. I used to heat up a pin and
I
a
did
candle.
too. A
and
pin. I was just gonna
make
say
holes
that.
burn.
Yeah.
That's
So-
how we did it. We heated up
Yeah.
a pin on a candle, shoved it through the plastic, and then had to file it smooth where the melt mark.
Yeah.
Although
That's
how we did
one
it.
thing that I've been thinking
Fourth
about
grade.
lately too is, as these models get more and more detailed, it used to be you'd add your weathering and it could hide some of the blemishes in the model, that sort of thing, and it'd make it look more realistic. But as they get more and more detailed, like these tangent hoppers, right? You pretty much have to weather them for it to look right at that point, because everything is looking so darn realistic at that point otherwise that, just watching it go down the track just absolutely clean as a whistle
Yeah.
doesn't seem right anymore.
Unless you're a collector,
And if you're a collector, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I remember those days, and I love the stuff that is coming out with all the details and grab irons and everything. But I'm at a point in my life where I can afford it if I want to. I can understand where younger people can't
Right.
afford to
Yeah.
buy that much, but there's still a lot of lower end stuff available. AccuRail and Avturn kits are both nice kits that you can
And
you can
train
learn,
meets. I mean, there's a ton of used stuff to find these
right,
days too.
and that's
Oh, yes.
they can learn the way we
That,
did.
that part of the hobby, you got to understand, when this hobby started, obviously, model railroader started coming out, it was Depression. It was right after the Depression.
Right.
So this pastime was something where you did it by yourself. You took the trash, the coffee can, and you turned the
Whatever
coffee.
you had and turned it into a layout.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's always been that kind of a hobby, and I kind of just blanked out on where I was going with that.
Well,
Well, you
Lionel
were
asked
saying
me
that-
basically. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. You
Well-
guys, why am I even here? I mean, seriously.
At least we sent you all the pictures ahead of time on this show.
Yeah. That,
Have we
true.
run
That's
any
true.
pictures yet? I got to shoot those engines. That's
yeah,
about it.
you sure do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm grateful to see the stuff, and there's so much of it out there.
Oh, I
that
know.
No matter
Yeah.
what you're modeling, you can find something that fits your niche.
What you just said.
I always tell this story. I talked to a guy back in the mid '90s, Henry Freeman. We were at a convention, and we were talking about it was the golden age of model railroading, and that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, here's the golden age of model railroading.
It's gone
like,
platinum.
No,
Right.
30
Yeah.
years from now, it'll be the golden age of model railroading.
Joshua said to me on the phone this week, I want to buy a three track turnout. A 3-track. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
The triple turnout, yeah.
Triple turnout, yeah.
Oh, they're $75. It's like, okay. Wooden ties out of the box over there. 2 pieces of 3-foot rail. Maybe 1 piece. And some spikes. You just built your turnout, your $75 turnout yourself in 3 hours, maybe 2, for $5 or
Wait,
how do you make
$2.50.
that
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on.
$2. So you
Points
can
and
handle it your
everything.
own, right? On the sander over there. You got to have the tools.
I would much rather pick Mike Buddy up and take a drive to the hobby store and say hi to Kevin at Mark Twain Hobbies and hang out for a little while and then buy it and then complain about the price on the way home, just like I always do with
Yeah.
everything.
All right, so it was conversation. I took it literally and figured a workaround.
I mean, that's everyone has their niche in the hobby, and I've seen the Fast Tracks layouts and the whole the Oak Hill stuff too, and that's really neat stuff. But that's time that I want to spend somewhere else on something else. I would rather go spend $30 or $70 on them and put them down and know that they're down and they're perfect.
And they're going to work.
Right, because
that's-
I'm not smart enough to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
And
so,
what your time is worth.
And I mean, that's the hobby within the hobby of model railroading, complaining about the prices and then ultimately putting up with it because it's so darn neat.
but yeah, I really want to get some track down. I don't want to. Okay, I got to spend this amount of time down there building these 3 turnouts. I'd rather just throw them down and start running some trains, and I'm getting
But
real
that's
antsy.
that's the beauty of the hobby is everybody has something
Right.
that they enjoy. Like a close friend of mine, Tim Warris, who's donated to my One More Year thing every year, very generously. I've never bought one single item off of Fast Tracks because I don't have the desire to hand build turnouts. But I
Correct.
I love making scenery and I love painting locomotives
Yep.
and it's whatever. I'll talk to people about. Somehow I was having a conversation with somebody about using my airbrush, and they were like, "I've never used my airbrush," and I'm like, "It's really easy, but you've got to have that desire to learn that particular
Correct.
element of the
Right.
hobby."
And I do. I even have an airbrush kit with everything I need right in a box. And when I get to that point where I want to start weathering stuff or painting stuff, then I'll have it ready. But right now, I want to focus on Benchwork. There's a system in my head for building stuff, and that's what I got to do: is start
Right.
at the first thing and work my way forward.
Right. But that's one thing why the model railroading community is so great, because everyone has different interests that they like to focus on, and we can all help each other. That's
Joshua, did you get that interview with Matt Herman at the RPM? I'm really looking forward to that one.
Oh, geez, you had to bring
I'll
that
have
up.
we'll have to bring Matt on the show and talk to him.
yeah.
And we'll see him at
Have
another
to have
show.
him come down again.
Yeah.
There's a part 1,
Yeah.
part 2.
There you
is
go.
coming.
Have him come down.
Yeah.
Part 2 is going to come out next year at the RPM.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
Well, maybe you can call him and then do a voiceover for that portion of the interview. Like that.
So,
what's neat this
You know-
week? Boxcars. I got them on the table. Check it out. I know I keep showing the picture too.
SamsonRCHobbyshop.com.
No, they're really pretty. Just buy one and weather it. Put it on your shelf. Send us a picture of it running on your layout.
Yeah, that'd be
Somebody
awesome.
made a really cool What's Neat billboard one time, and I want to build one of those on that scene over there. I think.
Very cool.
There you go.
So who makes those cars?
Value Trains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can get them at SamsonRCHobbyShop.com.
He makes some beautiful
Josh,
great
didn't
cars.
you mention
I
like
saw him
some
at
more-
Schaefer Hobbies as well.
some more
So
realistic,
several local hobby shops.
Yeah,
more prototypical
He's
paint
developing a prototypical one for us.
It's
right?
only in my head. I haven't called up and made any plans. I've got my girlfriend on the table.
Hey, look at that.
I know.
She's gorgeous.
He
She's a
sent
lot
us.
smaller than I
There's
thought she
twins.
was.
He sent us.
She has
I
a
know.
twin.
There's two of them.
So James is going to make us the 6-inch tall ones when he gets the file, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because these are so hard to see, but this will be great. This is kind
I-
of neat.
I
Her and
think-
I could stand next to the tracks and we're watching a train go by.
Oh, that's cool.
Not to be a downer about this, but I think the ones that I'd made previously were 5-inch,
Okay.
and that's about as tall as
Well,
my
whatever
machine
they
can
are,
make 'em.
whatever
Yeah.
they are, they're all
Yeah.
the same. I don't have.
Well, no,
any
you
of
have
those
to
right.
make a 6-inch one,
Yeah,
James.
yeah.
You know,
I want to do a What's Neat This Week versus a Modeler's Life chess set.
There you go.
So
Now we're
I
talking.
need
Yeah.
I need to get with you and Bernard, and we need to discuss how that can happen, and
Yeah,
have
there
you know
you go.
have
Now
our
we're
paws
getting
as
somewhere.
little the pawns as little trains, and you're the king and he's a king, and you're the queen and I'm a knight, and you know.
wait, what?
Nothing.
Now,
No.
we'll-
Stop.
I mean-
no more. That's enough.
We'll
This-
work out the semantics.
I guess
later.
I'd have all the moves.
No, there is nothing to say to that. This is an hour-long show, and that's what happens when you're just having a great, interesting. I haven't said much. We're just listening and talking. I really want to wake up now and
Yeah.
get the September show out, and then this podcast will be out sometime next week.
Yeah, and then we'll be on Lionel's show real soon.
That'll be
Yeah,
fun
you're
because
gonna-
I don't
we're
have to
gonna
do
figure
it.
that
We
out.
can just sit down and relax. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I'll call you, Lionel, and then you won't answer my call either. Just like, oh,
Exactly. Well, I'm not sure I'll get to say anything anyways. You guys talk.
Well,
so
yeah.
much. Hey,
Right.
Mike, you said you and I are the same age. I didn't know you were 43.
Well, I will be 43 in my next birthday.
Hey, me too.
Dan Mischio and John at TCS, that's Train Control Systems, Lionel. They
Yes.
wanted to thank everybody last week that contacted them on their internet website page about having the professional decoders and sound installations done on their trains. I showed the website last week, and they got a lot of inquiries about this. So I think this is a portion of the hobby, maybe that there is a need that may not have been really known about. I mean, there's the uncle and the aunt and Daniel that does this for us. But here's an operation that does it professionally. They guarantee their work. It's insured. It's the whole bit. Plus, they make the decoders, so they know what they're doing.
yeah.
So check it out. That's something I wanted to bring up because he called me up last night and said, "Thank you, Ken." And they are working on projects right now. In fact, they're working the weekend right now because of that.
That's how that goes.
Yes.
Hey,
I
Lionel.
still have some steam I need to install with TCS.
Yes, Joshua.
Hey, Lionel. If people want to listen to A Modeler's Life, how do they find it, and where do they go? Where can they see your face at?
They send me $342.
340. That's
If you go to amodelerslife.com, that's our website. And on there, there'll be links to where you can download the podcast and listen to it. Every Monday, it's free. And every Tuesday, it's a pay. You belong to our Patreon channel. And on Tuesday, you get one that's a little more down home, a little more goofy, a little more fooling around. And so there's one every Monday and one every Tuesday. And mine are on time, by the way, most of the time.
so would we be on the Monday one or the Tuesday one? Are you going to make people pay to listen to us?
Whatever you guys would like. If you want to be on the pay channel, I think it'd be better if you guys were on the free channel. So
Yeah, I don't think
get-
people would pay
Yeah.
for
I
to
don't
listen
either.
to us.
I think that'd be a detriment to you.
Yeah, we're not used to getting paid around here.
yeah.
Once they taste the candy, they will be back. And you guys have all been getting paid zeros for years.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Plus, there's a lot of different models that show up.
It's a
that you
big
guys-
check, but they're all zeros.
We all do this because we have a passion for this hobby. And for some reason, we feel compelled to be able to share it because we've got all the equipment to do it. And this is actually a lot of fun to do.
Sure
Joshua, I have
Yeah.
a point to make there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
This is the same thing that the Scarecrow said on The Wizard of Oz. He said, they didn't pay us much, except they paid us an immortality.
Oh, that is a true quote.
That's
There you-
true.
yeah.
That
Our
is very
podcast
true.
will go down
You
for decades.
you live in
Yeah.
infamy now because thanks to Ken Patterson, the
Generations.
the
Yeah.
man simply known as the dude in the
Wow,
hobby.
we're infamous.
Best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it sitting all around me right now, right here on the set. Lionel, I want to thank you very much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
We can't wait to
Well-
be on your show,
Yeah.
guys.
I would have liked to heard him talk a little more too. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Thanks,
feel
Mike.
I feel like we pushed him out.
Yeah.
a little
You know what?
more.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on the way all this detailed stuff has come up? Do you miss the old days of?
I
have-
actually
applying
kind of do.
every-
Like
yeah.
I kind of like I had a prototype freelance railroad, so it was my own road name, and like back then, you would go. You wanted a couple of undecorated Jeep 35s from Cato. You just went to the hobby store. Every
Oh,
hobby
yeah.
store
Right,
had
undecorated
undecorated.
was
logo.
standard.
And there
Yeah.
were hobby stores everywhere.
Yeah, and there were hobby stores everywhere. That doesn't bother me so much about. That's just I embrace all the new technology,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that undecorated stuff is just gone
Right.
kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I like the fact that there's so many really cool details that you can get now, but it almost feels kind of like sometimes the hobby's moving too fast and I can't keep up anymore.
I totally understand. Yep.
3D
Especially
printing,
with
yeah.
this
Yeah.
new thing called DCC. I mean,
I'm left
Yeah.
out on the 3D printing.
Yeah, 3D
DCC.
printing, a lot of this different
Yep.
stuff. Yeah. Well, what a great show.
I know.
We
I
should
just-
Yeah.
end it on a high note.
I want to work on the layout over there so bad. Do I have to do
I
this
know.
edit?
I'm going home so I can work on my
Yep.
layout.
Oh man, I know.
All right. I guess we'll see you
Well-
when we come out on Thursday or so.
We're coming
Yeah.
out. We're going out there on Thursday.
No, we are getting the podcast
Here.
out likely on Thursday.
We're gonna fix
Oh,
that
here's the
train.
hammerhead.
It
Yeah.
quit running.
Yeah.
We got to take our NCE system and make this thing work. Can we just? Can I just say the key words here? Let's go run some trains. Guys
all
ready?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go
let's
run
do
some
that.
trains.
We love you, Lionel. Thank
Bye,
you.
Lionel.
Ready?
Yeah,
we
thank
still
you.
got to do
Thanks, Lionel.
thumbnail. Don't hang up. Ready, set, go. Let's go run some trains.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Right? Let's go run. I want to run that train. We were supposed to run it tonight.
Well, it ran something.
It ran
came
for a
off the-
while.
It's been running perfect for 3 weeks. What just happened?
I don't know.
I
There's
suspect
an
a
extra,
joiner may have come out.
There's an
Well-
extra caboose on
Oh, a
there.
caboose derailed.
Yeah.
Yep, that
It
could
was
have
fun, Lionel.
That could have
Yeah.
shorted it.
Do
Yeah.
this
Hey,
again
we,
sometime.
we need a thumbnail.
Soon.
I need a thumbnail.
It's
You're
very,
gonna hold
it's
James,
really
huh?
entertaining to have him on.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously,
Josh was
seriously, when
holding
did I get
James.
my check?
I'm holding Thomas.
Oh, you have to.
All right.
Why am I
talk to
holding
Ken about that.
Thomas?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, we got Lionel on. I'll put my arm around Lionel. Ready?
All right.
There we
Look
go.
at camera number that one and smile. And that should give us a thumbnail.
Yay.
There we go.
I really love last week's thumbnail, Mike, with your cars in it.
Yeah. That was nice.
Lionel,
Yeah, it
thank
was-
you, Lionel.
Lionel, you should be on more often.
Well, that's what I
I'm
just
available.
said. Yeah.
You can be
All
a
right.
You know what? It's not a case. It's just a case of we forget. Yeah, there's so many people to talk to.
Right.
You
Yes.
just literally forget. you
I
know?
gotta get Tony Cook on. I've talked to him about
Yep.
that.
Ed Dickens.
Yeah, I want to contact Ed. But Ed Dickens is bringing the big boy to my house. It's going to be in my backyard down here below the bluff
that'll
on
be awesome.
September
He's
12th.
gonna stop
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah, you're going to
That's
have to.
exciting.
Running right
I
through
need
DeSoto.
somebody with a drone right there to take a picture of the big boy in my house. I will pay. I don't know what I'm paying. I'll trade you a model, but I need
You
a
hear that,
photograph
drone
of that.
operators?
Yeah,
I
that's
need a
right.
photograph.
You can sit on your deck and watch it go by.
That's right.
No, I can't.